Dueck art. I'm just super excited today to get into our painting. We're going to do some great stuff. But first of all, I want to show you both a graphic drawing and a painting that my granddaughter Cierra did. The first one is of a runner, just a magnificent little drawing. And the second one is a painting that the teacher of her grade 12 class, she just graduated, but her teacher asked them to look at a black and white picture and to paint it in color. And she did a magnificent job. And right now it's hanging in their front room, their home, and I just wanted to show you that. So, well, let's get into our painting today, shall we? On our last program, we blocked in the sky background and foreground of our picture. And for our reference material, once again, I'll just show you here what we're planning to do is a field with some cattle in it, and so we're going to be using that for a reference. Also, I'll just mention to you that in today's show, we're going to be using the colors titanium white, burnt umber, cobalt blue, hooker's green, some sap green, and light green, and as well as some deep yellow. For our brushes today, we're going to add a few brushes from what we had last week. We'll be using the 1-inch brush again. Also a half-inch brush or 12-millimeter brush, another 12-millimeter bristle brush, and a number 6 bristle brush, and also a fan brush that I'm using to do some of the trees, and a fanning brush for the water when we put the reflections in. So those are the brushes we're going to use. So let's get started. Okay, I told you we're going to be using our fan brush, and so we're going to go into that, and we're going to work these hills in the background. One thing I noticed is that I wanted to have those trees just a little bigger, and but I didn't want to lose the backgroundness of the trees that we have there. So I'm going to go into the sap green this time, and I may not be using the whole brush at all, whenever we're using that. I'm going to add a little bit of blue so that we can get that far away look, and maybe a little white in there to get that far away look. Now it's not going to be even that far off of the blue, so what we're going to do is add a little bit more blue in that to get the color that we really want there. And I think we're getting close there now. So we're just going to put these in here lightly. Oh, we need a little more green than that, I guess. Yeah, something like that. And you can see how that by just touching these, touching the fan brush on there, it really shows up nicely for the background hills there. And as we come down, we can add a little bit more green if we like, and make that just a little brighter. But we want to keep our distance perspective, right? So you do far off colors like that by mixing the sky color to the actual color of the trees, which is, as you can see, the trees are green, of course. So now we have, several layers there that are going to come into view, and just very slowly going into here. Until we get close, and I'm going to add a little bit of hooker's green in there to give it a little bit more paint at the bottom. Just like that, I think, is the way I want it. And now we're probably going to go back into our sap green there and the blue mixture that we had, but we're going to add a little bit more green pigment to these closer up trees. And that's nowhere near what we want. I think something like that. And we're just going to bring these up into the sky a little bit more than what we had there. Now we're going into our hooker's green, bringing this hill down here. And again, we said that the shadow is going to be on the left side of the trees. So wherever there's trees on the left, that's how we're going to do that. Bring that down just a little bit. I'm going to step back and take a look at it from a distance and to see what that looks like. And the first thing I notice is that the tops of the trees are just too level, so we're going to fix that here right away. And again, we'll take a look at it from a distance. And yes, I like that a lot more than what we had before. I think we need to darken this area up just a little bit in here. And I think just for composition's sake, I'd like to add a few trees right in, coming in from this here side. And that too will help to bring a little bit of distance to things. Okay. There. I think we'll call that good. We could maybe add a little bit of, yeah, just right somewhere there. Gives another dimension of hills there. Okie doke. We'll call that good, I think, for that. Now we're into the background area, and once again we'll take a look at our reference photo here, and you'll see that kind of olive green area. If you look at that real close, you can see that there's some brown areas to that. Not much, but there's a little bit there. So we're putting our fan brush away for now, and we're going to go back to our number 7 bristle brush, and we're going to mix up some I think I got it too brown in the first one. So I'm going to go back and add a little more green to that. So for that, we're going to use the sap green with a little burnt umber. And some red crimson. And one thing that we should note there is just to remember to not mix our paints thoroughly, because paint that isn't mixed thoroughly always looks better than that which is mixed thoroughly. So I want that artistic look to things. I'm just going to mix some of that Hooker's green in there, and I'll see if I got the right color here. I think that's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is take my spray bottle, and I'm going to just spray across here so that I'm blending in the background trees to the grass up front there. Just like that. And then I'm going to work this in here. Work this back in there a little bit. You can come back and touch that up later on too, but for now I'm just going to kind of work this over to here, and we'll pick up the color that we had before. So I forgot to plug in one of my cameras, so it kind of beeped at me and went dead. So that's what happened there, and we'll continue on. I actually think this background looks pretty good just the way it is here at this point. So I'm really tempted just to leave it like that. It's gonna help it to look more artistic. Now for the next area, we're going to do much the same, just a little bit darker, and we're going to blend that in. You can already see that it's starting to blend back there pretty good. So that's what we're going to do next. We'll start here by just blending this a little bit. While we got the paints out, we want that to not be a straight line, but rather to be blending into this next here area. So that's good. Now, I want to move into some lighter color here, and we're going to go into our light green, and then we're going to mix the color that we just used with it and make it a little bit darker, and we'll mix some white in with that, some a little more burnt umber as we need it. And again, we're going to try to not mix this too much, because the less we mix it, the better. So I'm just going to bring this across here like this. And now I'm using my number 7 brush for this. Not that I would normally use this for doing the stroke I'm doing right now, but in a moment here I'm going to be adding a little bit more detail to it. Okay, so how we're going to do this is just, I'm going to just kind of, we're going to first of all add a little burnt umber markings to this. Burnt umber with some darker green, I think is what we're going to do. Yeah, And we're going to, I think we're going to just kind of start in here with this. And we're going to do this all together because we want to blend it anyways. So here we go. More green, more burnt umber. And we're going to just bring this area right down to here. Get it nice and wet. And moving that up into the area that we're going to be working in. Now I'm just adding a little variance to it. And now I'm coming up into this green area and blending it in. And I'm going to take a look at that, see how I like that compared to the reference material. I think we need just a little more burnt umber in there and a little bit more of, okay, so now a little more detail. And again, I think I would like to just kind of, maybe we'll just start down here with this, scrub it in a bit. I'm going to work that into that other area as well. Give it a little bit of a distance. There seems to be a bit of a ridge there. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to do there. Maybe a little higher up yet. Maybe a bit of a hill or something like that. And with these other streaks here, we're going to just kind of make them going up and down instead of just sideways across. And that gives it just a sense of grasses, eh? And we figure out, okay, how does that look? Not bad, not bad. Now, the next thing I noticed is that here in this area in the front, there's an area of grass that has been matted down from where the cattle are standing. It's also lighter, so I'm going to get into that light green. And again, we still want some burnt umber in there. So I'm going to try to find a color that's going to look good for just right in here. Going to be right next to this. And the paint's kind of not going on too smoothly there, so I'm adding a little bit of water to it. And this is just where the cattle are standing. And the other thing it's going to do is it's going to bring those cattle legs and everything out, because there's going to be quite a contrast between what we have with that light green and the big color. Yeah, I like that, with the big colors of the cattle there. So now, and I forgot, but I shouldn't have forgot, but I did, to add just a little bit of yellow to that. So we're going to go back in here and, oh yeah, make it just a little nice and a little richer. Okay, and we're going to bring this down. We're not going to stay there with that, but that's the way it's going to be there for now. I like it. What do you think? Okay, here we go. Now we're going to add that rich burnt umber with we're going to add a little crimson to that too, I think. Oh yeah, not too much though. And okay, in we go. This whole area here, we're going to enrich with nice dark colors. That's all. Do have to remember that there is some cattle there, so that's maybe a little light. I'm going to add a little blue to it, darken it up some. There we go. Yep. A little more blue. We'll get that color right. Now I see how this kind of fades into the green there. So we just kind of got to keep that in mind. I'm adding a little bit of light green to the brown mixture. And I'm just going to blend it in there a bit, some. This is where the top of the ridge meets the other. And there's a little bit more pronounced than that. So I think on this one here, I'm going to actually go into the very dark, and I'm going to add some, there's some shadows and hoof prints and things there. So this needs to be a little bit more textured. I don't know if that's exactly what I want there, but I went back and got to put a little bit more burnt umber in there instead of the blue. There is that ridge there, just where the cattle march. Yeah, something like that. And now there's some areas that are lighter in color. We just can add a little bit of white in there. There's kind of a bit of even some grassy areas growing in there. Kind of a hodgepodge of different colors and things. I think something like that maybe is what we're looking for. Now we're going to add the reflection part in the water. So before I get into that, though, I'm just going to set this brush aside and go back to our blue and white mixture here. If I dare do that, find some white that's clean and some blue that's clean. I think I'm just going to just see how close we are to the color we want. I might get too much if I'm not careful. White. I think that's pretty close. Yep. So let's get back and let's put first of all, a coating of this blue in here. And see, we got different colors coming out, which is always nice. Little blue streaks in there, that's always nice. Now, I'm going to go back in and get this browny color in there. I think something like that. Pretty close. We'll add the shoreline later. I'll keep this wet. So I'm going to try to use lots of water right here. Okay, and we want a nice clean shoreline across there. Now, we're going to take our fanning brush, nice synthetic fan brush, Granddaughter number 2, and we're just going to drag this down here for shadow. And first of all, I think we're going to blend this a little bit, just very lightly, and that's going to just blend that in, and then we can bring some downstrokes here. Now we're going to come back into the blue that we had with the fan brush, and I'm just going to go across this very lightly. Oops. Just something like that. Yeah. Now there is some brown markings for legs and things. We'll worry about that at a later time. I'm just going to use my number 6 bristle brush, and just going to add some yellow with the green. I think what I'm going to do is start with the yellow. Use that as our base color. I think we'll finish up the sides here. Yeah. Okay, so now for this, we're just going to go up and down with, I don't know if you can see me, with my trigger finger here is what I'm going to be doing for the grasses. I have, and I should have maybe blocked this in a little later than what I did, but it is going to be what it is. Okay, and then we'll go back down here and add some more. Notice the tapping, what I'm doing with my finger is just like that, tapping. And thank Jerry Yarnell for showing that technique on his TV shows, painted with Jerry Yarnell. You can see where those kind of gaudy background burnt sienna colors are now coming to our advantage instead of hurting us. Something like that. And I'm going to just add a little bit of burnt umber. I'm a bit at risk doing this, but maybe I shouldn't. Let's just see what, yeah. I think it's going to be okay if we just add just a little in the very foreground here, just to give it a show of depth. Sap green together with the light green. And I think we'll add a little yellow to that too. Just give it a little bit of rich taste to it. Yeah. So now we want to fix up this. You can see we need a lot more yellow there. These grasses are predominantly yellow. Okay, here we go. Yeah. I'm going to add some greens in there to just give it the texture that we want to show that there's grasses growing there. Get rid of that hard line that we had there. I think we'll quit with that for today. And before next show, I will pencil in the outlines of the cattle, and we'll spend next week actually putting the cattle in the picture. And when we're done that, you're just going to be amazed at what a difference the painting's going to take on with those beautiful, massive beasts out there in the field. You can just see them. It's a hot day. They're down in the water. They're just relishing the fact that they can get in there, get wet, and use their wet tails to slap the mosquitoes away. And they're enjoying the coolness of it. Get in there. Some of them have just climbed out. They got their baby calves with them. So it's a real great bovine family. So you're going to enjoy painting that. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.